There are certain things a man can say that sound romantic, but there are also things he does that reveal the truth before he ever opens his mouth. Because when a man is deeply in love with you, his body starts telling the story his words may still be afraid to tell. He may not say, "I'm falling for you." He may not sit you down and explain every emotion running through his mind. But watch what happens every time you walk into the room. Watch his eyes, watch his face, watch the way his energy changes. Because a man can control his words. But when his feelings become deep enough, controlling his reactions becomes much harder. And if you've ever wondered whether a man's feelings for you are real, stop listening only to what he says. Start paying attention to what he consistently does when he sees you. Because love is not always announced. Sometimes love walks into the room, sees you, and suddenly forgets how to act normal. Think about it. Have you ever noticed a man who suddenly becomes more alert when you arrive? Maybe he was relaxed, talking to somebody else, looking at his phone, or focused on whatever he was doing. Then you walked in, and something changed. His posture changed, his face changed, his attention changed. Suddenly, you became the most important thing in the room. That reaction can tell you more than 100 sweet messages. Because when a man is deeply attracted to a woman emotionally, seeing her can create a reaction before his mind has time to hide it. And one of the biggest signs is this. He looks at you differently, not just a quick glance. Not just checking you out. I'm talking about that look that lingers for a second longer than it should. That look where his eyes seem to soften. That look where he studies your face like he's trying to memorize something. A man who is only physically attracted to you may notice your body, but a man who is becoming emotionally attached starts noticing you. There is a difference. He notices your expression. He notices when your energy is different. He notices when you're quiet. He notices when you're excited. He notices the little things that most people overlook. And when a man starts paying attention to details about you that nobody else remembers, understand what is happening. You are becoming important to him because people pay attention to what they value. You don't memorize details about something you don't care about. You don't notice every little change in something that means nothing to you. But when a woman starts occupying real space in a man's heart, she starts occupying space in his attention too. That's why you should never underestimate the power of consistency. Anybody can act interested for one day. Anybody can send a romantic message. Anybody can make promises when emotions are high. But real feelings show themselves through patterns. So ask yourself, what does he do every time he sees you? Does he light up? Does he smile without even realizing it? Does he immediately try to get your attention? Does he find some reason to come closer? Does he become more playful? Does he suddenly become more confident? Or sometimes, does he become a little nervous? Because yes, a man can be confident around the entire world and still become nervous around the woman he genuinely cares about. Why? Because when you matter, the outcome matters. When a man doesn't care about your opinion, he has nothing to lose. But when he deeply values you, suddenly your reaction becomes important. He starts thinking about how you see him. He wants to impress you. He wants you to respect him. He wants to feel like he is enough for you. And that is why sometimes the strongest man in the room can become surprisingly awkward around the woman who has his heart. He may stumble over his words. He may joke too much. He may suddenly become quieter. He may act like he doesn't care while secretly caring more than he wants you to know. And you have to understand something about men. A man may hide his feelings because vulnerability can feel dangerous. He may be afraid of rejection. He may have been hurt before. He may not know whether you feel the same way, or he may simply need time to understand what is happening inside him. But his behavior can still expose what his mouth is trying to protect. And here's another sign you should never ignore. When he sees you, he remembers something you told him. Maybe you casually mentioned that you had an important day coming up. Maybe you told him about a problem at work. Maybe you mentioned something you were excited about. And days later, he brings it up. That matters because he didn't have to remember. Nobody forced him to remember. You simply said something and his mind decided it was worth keeping. That is emotional attention. And emotional attention is one of the foundations of genuine connection. When a man is deeply interested in you, he doesn't just hear your words, he stores them. Your favorite thing, something that annoys you, the story about your childhood, the goal you're chasing, the little habit you have, the thing that makes you laugh, the thing that makes you nervous. And eventually you realize this man has been paying attention. That's when you know you're not just another woman in his life. You are becoming someone he is emotionally invested in. But there is something even deeper. Watch how he treats you when nobody is watching. Anybody can perform affection in public. Anybody can be charming when people are looking. But character shows up in private. Does he still check on you when there is nothing in it for him? Does he still care when he doesn't need anything? Does he make an effort even when you're not entertaining him? Does he respect your boundaries? Does he listen when you speak? Does he care about how you feel? Not just about how you make him feel. That is the difference between wanting a woman and valuing a woman. A man can desire you and still not be ready to love you. A man can enjoy your attention and still not be emotionally invested. But when he begins valuing your peace, your happiness, your trust, and your presence, that is different. And ladies, don't confuse intensity with love. Sometimes the man who overwhelms you with attention is not the man who loves you the most. Sometimes the man who is steady, intentional, respectful, and consistent is the one showing you something far more valuable. Love is not supposed to leave you constantly guessing. Healthy affection creates security. It makes you feel seen. It makes you feel respected. It makes you feel like you don't have to compete for someone's attention. And if every time he sees you, his behavior communicates, I'm glad you're here. Pay attention to that, because a woman should never have to beg someone to recognize her value. The right man doesn't need to be manipulated into appreciating you. He notices, he chooses, he shows up, he makes room. And most importantly, he becomes consistent. There's another reaction that can reveal a lot. Notice what happens when you're talking to other people. A deeply interested man may suddenly become more attentive. He may look over. He may find a reason to join the conversation. He may become quieter and observe. Now, that does not automatically mean jealousy equals love. It doesn't. Possessiveness is not proof of love. Control is not proof of love. But when a man genuinely cares about you, your interactions with others can remind him how much he values your attention. The key is what he does with that feeling. A mature man doesn't try to control you. He simply becomes more intentional about showing you that he wants to be part of your world. He doesn't demand your attention. He earns it. And that is powerful, because the strongest relationships are not built on pressure. They are built on choice. He chooses you. You choose him again and again. Not because either person is trapped, not because either person is afraid to leave, but because both people recognize the value of what they have. And when a man truly feels that connection, you'll often notice another thing. He starts looking for reasons to see you, not because he has nothing else to do, but because being around you becomes something he genuinely enjoys. He might create little opportunities. He might ask you to join him somewhere. He might stop by. He might extend conversations. He might turn a 5-minute interaction into 30 minutes. Why? Because people naturally make time for what matters to them. And you should remember that you don't need to chase somebody into making time for you. You don't need to beg somebody to miss you. You don't need to constantly text just to keep yourself on his mind. If your presence has real value to him, he will find ways to experience it. That doesn't mean he will be available every second. Real life exists. People have responsibilities. Work exists. Family exists. Stress exists. But consistency has nothing to do with being available 24 hours a day. It has everything to do with intention. A busy man can still make you feel important. A tired man can still check on you. A stressed man can still communicate. A man who values you may not always have unlimited time, but he will make sure you never have to wonder whether you matter. And that is the kind of love you should pay attention to. Because when a man sees you and his entire energy changes, when his eyes follow you, when he remembers the smallest details, when he finds reasons to be around you, when he cares about your feelings, and when his actions remain consistent, you may not need him to say everything yet. His behavior may already be speaking. But don't rush. Don't force the meaning. Don't turn one smile into a marriage proposal. Watch the pattern. Watch the consistency. Watch how he treats you over time. Because one moment can be chemistry. A pattern can reveal intention. And intention repeated consistently can reveal something much deeper. So if you've been wondering whether he feels something serious every time he sees you, stop obsessing over one conversation. Stop analyzing one text. Stop replaying one look. Step back, look at the whole picture. Because real love doesn't hide in one dramatic moment. It reveals itself in dozens of small moments that keep repeating. And when those moments continue, when he keeps showing up, when he keeps paying attention, when he keeps making you feel seen, when he keeps choosing your presence, that's when you stop asking, does he feel something? And start asking a much more important question. Is the way he loves me consistent with the kind of love I deserve? Because being wanted is exciting. Being desired is flattering. But being respected, valued, understood, and intentionally chosen, that is where something real begins. And here's the part many women miss. A man who is deeply falling for you doesn't just become interested in your beauty. He becomes interested in your world. He wants to know what makes you happy. He wants to understand what makes you frustrated. He starts asking questions that go beyond surface level conversation. He doesn't just ask, how was your day? He asks, what happened? What are you thinking about? Are you okay? What do you want? Those questions matter because they show that he isn't simply trying to enjoy your presence. He is trying to understand you. And there is a huge difference between being entertained by someone and being emotionally connected to someone. A man can enjoy talking to a beautiful woman, but when he starts caring about what is happening inside her mind, something deeper is developing. That's when his interest moves beyond attraction. And sometimes you'll notice that he becomes protective of your peace. Not controlling, not possessive, protective. He doesn't want to be the reason you are constantly stressed. He doesn't intentionally create confusion just to keep you emotionally attached. He doesn't disappear for days and then return expecting you to accept whatever excuse he gives. Instead, he begins to understand that his actions have an impact on you. And when a man truly values you, he becomes more careful with your heart. That doesn't mean he becomes perfect. No man is perfect. He can still make mistakes. He can still say the wrong thing. He can still have bad days. But there is a difference between a man who makes mistakes and a man who repeatedly makes you feel like you don't matter. A man who loves you may hurt you accidentally. A man who doesn't value you will hurt you carelessly. Never confuse the two, because love should create accountability. If he knows something bothers you, he doesn't keep doing it just because he can. If he realizes he made a mistake, he doesn't make you feel crazy for noticing it. If he truly cares, he learns, he adjusts, he grows. That is what emotional investment looks like. And sometimes the clearest sign isn't what he does when he sees you. It's what he does after he leaves you. Does he continue thinking about you? Does he follow up on conversations? Does he check whether you got home safely? Does he remember something you mentioned? Does he reach out because he genuinely wants to know how you are? That tells you whether the connection exists only in the moment or continues after the moment ends, because temporary attraction lives in the moment. Real emotional connection follows you home. It stays in his thoughts. It makes him wonder how your day is going. It makes him remember your laugh. It makes him replay something you said. It makes him think about the next time he'll see you. And that is why you should never underestimate the power of your absence. Not as a manipulation, not as a game, but because space reveals what presence can sometimes hide. When you are always available, you may never notice whether someone truly misses you. But when you step back and live your own life, you discover something important. A man who values you doesn't simply enjoy having access to you. He notices when you're not there. And more importantly, he does something about it. He reaches out. He checks in. He makes plans. He creates another opportunity to see you. That's not about playing hard to get. That's about having a life of your own. And ladies, this is where your power comes in. Never make a man the center of your entire existence, because the moment your entire happiness depends on whether he texts you, calls you, or looks at you, you hand him control over your emotional state. You should be able to love someone without losing yourself. You should be able to care deeply without abandoning your standards. You should be able to enjoy his attention without needing it to validate your worth. Your value existed before he noticed you. Your beauty existed before he complimented you. Your purpose existed before he entered your life. And if he leaves, none of that disappears. That mindset changes everything. because the most attractive woman is not necessarily the woman who gets the most attention. It is often the woman who knows she does not need to beg for attention. She knows her worth. She respects herself. She has standards. She has goals. She has peace. She has a life. And when a good man sees that, he doesn't want to destroy it. He wants to become part of it. That's why you should never chase someone into loving you. You cannot convince somebody to value you. You cannot force emotional maturity. You cannot manipulate somebody into commitment. And you should never have to perform for basic respect. If he truly wants you, his actions will eventually become clear. Maybe not overnight. Maybe not in the exact way you imagine, but clarity comes through consistency. And that brings us to one of the biggest signs of all. Watch how he behaves when things don't go his way. Anybody can be loving when everything is easy. The real test comes when there is disagreement, when you say no, when you have your own opinion, when you don't agree with him, when you need space, when you challenge him respectfully. Does he become cruel? Does he punish you? Does he withdraw affection to control you? Does he try to make you jealous? Or does he communicate? A man who deeply values you doesn't need you to be submissive to prove your love. He can respect your individuality. He can disagree with you without disrespecting you. He can have a strong opinion without trying to silence yours. That kind of emotional safety is priceless because attraction may bring two people together, but respect is what allows them to stay together. And every time he sees you, he treats you with warmth, respect, genuine interest, and consistency. Don't overlook it simply because he isn't making dramatic declarations. Sometimes the quiet signs are the strongest. The way he smiles when you walk in, the way he listens when you speak, the way he remembers what you said weeks ago, the way he notices when something is wrong, the way he makes room for you, the way he protects your dignity, the way he wants to see you succeed, the way he doesn't compete with your happiness, the way he becomes more intentional as his feelings grow. Those things matter. And if you're watching his behavior, don't just ask whether he is attracted to you. Ask whether he is emotionally present. Ask whether he respects you. Ask whether he is consistent. Ask whether his actions match his words, because a man can say, "I love you," and still behave like he doesn't value you. And another man may take longer to say those three words while showing you every day that you matter. Words matter, but actions give words their credibility. That's why you should never let sweet words hypnotize you while ignoring painful behavior. Believe the pattern. If his words say one thing and his actions repeatedly say another, pay attention to the actions. You deserve a love that makes sense. You deserve a relationship where you don't have to become a detective. You deserve someone whose presence brings more peace than confusion. And if he is deeply in love with you, you won't have to spend every night wondering whether you are enough. You'll feel his effort. You'll see his consistency. You'll recognize his respect. You'll experience his intention. And most importantly, you won't have to abandon yourself to keep him. That is the kind of love worth holding on to. But there is one final lesson you need to remember. Don't become so focused on whether he is deeply in love with you that you forget to ask whether you are deeply in love with the way he treats you. That question can save you years, because sometimes a woman becomes so focused on being chosen that she forgets she is also choosing. You are not waiting for a man to decide whether you have value. You are deciding whether his character deserves access to your heart. You are deciding whether his behavior matches your standards. You are deciding whether his presence adds something meaningful to your life. That is the mindset of a woman who knows herself. She doesn't chase. She doesn't beg. She doesn't compete. She observes. She listens, she watches, and then she chooses. So the next time you see him, don't panic. Don't start performing. Don't try to make yourself more beautiful just to get his attention. Don't change your personality because you want him to fall harder. Just be yourself. Pay attention to the little things. Does his face light up when he sees you? Does he naturally move closer? Does he remember what matters to you? Does he care about your feelings? Does he create time for you? Does he respect your boundaries? Does he support your goals? Does he make you feel secure rather than confused? Does he consistently choose to show up? If the answer is yes, again and again, you may be looking at something much deeper than simple attraction. You may be watching a man whose heart is becoming attached. And when a man's heart becomes attached to a woman, Her presence feels different. She isn't just another person in the room. She is the person he notices, the person he remembers, the person he wants to impress, the person whose opinion matters, the person whose happiness starts affecting his own. But remember this, you don't have to chase that kind of love. You don't have to force it. You don't have to manipulate it. You don't have to become someone you are not. Let a man reveal himself through his actions. Let time expose his intentions. Let consistency prove his feelings. And while he is showing you who he is, keep showing yourself who you are. Keep your standards. Keep your purpose. Keep your confidence. Keep your peace. Because the right relationship will not require you to lose yourself to keep somebody else. And if a man truly loves you, he won't simply want your attention. He will want to protect the connection. He will want to earn your trust. He will want to build something that survives beyond attraction. He will understand that having your heart is not a trophy. It is a responsibility. And that is when love becomes powerful. Not when he says the perfect words. Not when he sends the longest message. Not when he tells everybody how much he wants you. But when his everyday behavior quietly says, I see you. I respect you. I value you. I'm here. I choose you. That is the kind of message a woman can feel without hearing a single word. So if he does something every time he sees you that makes you wonder whether he is deeply in love, don't rush to label it. Observe it. Look at the entire pattern. Because one glance can be attraction, one smile can be chemistry, one compliment can mean nothing, but consistent attention, consistent respect, consistent effort, consistent care, that tells a much bigger story. And if that story keeps repeating, you may not need to chase the answer anymore. You may already be watching it unfold right in front of you. Love doesn't always arrive loudly. Sometimes it arrives quietly, in a smile, in a remembered detail, in a hand reaching for yours, in a man making time, in a man listening, in a man noticing, in a man changing because your presence has become important to him. And when you find that kind of love, don't take it for granted. But don't lose yourself inside it either. Love him, appreciate him, enjoy him. But remember who you were before he walked into the room. Because the goal is not to become the woman a man can't live without. The goal is to become a woman who knows exactly what kind of love she will and will not accept. And when the right man sees that woman, he doesn't need to be forced to recognize her value. He feels it. He respects it. And every time he sees her, something inside him reminds him just how lucky he is that she is there.